Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Furi. Let's continue. So, the boss before the previous boss was way too easy, and then the next boss was a little too hard. We're seeing a real inconsistency as far as the level of difficulty, on top of already playing on promenade mode and only really having to swallow my pride and go to invincible mode if I can't actually beat the game on promenade mode. Like, my hope is that with minimal struggle I beat the game on promenade mode, and then it somehow unlocked maybe a practice mode that I could actually use to get good enough to beat it on the normal difficulty instead of easy difficulty, which is what promenade is, or just a full-on upgrade that would make your weapon stronger. We were in a sewer for the last boss fight, and now we're magically getting teleported into a desert. So each of these platforms we saw were shown in space, so there's something to that, certainly, that each of these platforms are their own magically created worlds. I guess the one you started in was the jailer's thunder world, and then this is like a secret area here that, again, it feels like there should be some kind of collectible or unique achievements for finding each of these visual vistas. It's kind of silly in modern games to have content and places you can go, and you would have only recognized that you could even do that if you had tried to walk back through the gate, which I imagine a lot of players would have never bothered to realize that you can't go back through the gate and you'll just walk through it to the other side of the same location. But yeah, no reward there. You'd think maybe there'd be an Easter egg or something there, or at least the rabbit character. I'm assuming that there's about 10 bosses, but honestly I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer to 6 or 7 bosses, with some of the bosses not really mattering as much. We're seeing these rocks that look like they have speakers in them, so this would make me think that this is a musical section.
I know this is hard, but when I am struggling to keep faith, I think about the beauty of the world beyond.
And see, your guy just walks past and basically ignores the rabbit guy talking to you. Although we've pretty much determined he's not a split personality or something. It seems like he isn't. But
you were captured, thrown in prison, tortured. Finally you escaped. And here they are, those guardians. Hand-picked, top of their game killing machines, just waiting to throw you back in. How does that make you feel?
And our protagonist here just doesn't emote.
They didn't kill you already because they can't. Believe me, they would if they could, without blinking. Second best for them now is to put you back in chains.
And so you just have these awkward pauses with the walking, where clearly they could have at least cut this pathway down to be the exact length of the walk, unless they're making the length of the walk as long as the dialogue in a different language, which might be the case. It might be that if you swap this to a slightly longer language, maybe like German or something,
let me tell you some more,
it would
about what
take the full length of the talk.
You need to know. Then there'll be no stopping you.
Of course,
he is the one who got you here in the first place. He is the one who brought you down. He led the men who captured you. Hundreds of them against you. Was that fair?
Let's see, what are the language options here? French, Japanese. Yeah. If anything, of the three options, I'd say maybe French is the longest one. But there are ways to fix that too, certainly, where you could have each character speed up their pace just by a slight fraction, or have the speaker speak a little bit faster. So we're gonna fight the guy who took you down, which means somehow you are going to get stronger, or at least he's not gonna have hundreds of men on his side this time.
So what do you say? An eye for an eye, huh? Time to take your revenge.
It is just incredibly awkward though. They have your character not even like smirk or react in any way. And see, I'm not even doing anything and the camera's just panning here because it's just been triggered to pan like that. So as far as you know, the character you're playing as doesn't have the ability to hear
and you will be free.
or he doesn't speak the same language. It honestly would have been nicer if there had been more of an internalized emotion and reason for our character to want to escape, and a sound of him suffering and screaming in pain when he gets killed and when you take damage. So we see a kid and we see a guy with a big
fear, knows no courage. I
sword
take mine
and
from
shield.
You. We are what we fight for.
Now I can't remember if I saw this, but it almost looked like the key was on the kid.
I look at you, stranger, and I see nothing. Desolation. Death. You are alone. I am fighting for something much greater than this. Can you imagine the strength that gives me? I doubt it. And so your fight ends here.
So he's got some energy weapons. It almost feels like there should be more of a flash, like a 3, 2, 1.
Once already, and I will do so again.
So this guy would basically be your standard hero in a fantasy game. Sword and shield, and he's fighting for his son.
Go back.
So you have a whole new set of attacks. And the problem here, I really just haven't played enough of the game so far to figure out exactly the tricks to all this. So I'm taking increasing amounts of damage here. And see, that wasn't a you're gonna take damage attack as much as that was a you're tied in combat attack. So increasingly I am having to dodge his attack and then get far away, and the arena is fairly small here. Where the last arena kind of had that gimmick of
For my son, for all of us.
see, I was
am
about to
bringing you
win
back.
that round and totally lost, and
I brought you to your knees
that
once
last
already,
second,
and I will do so again.
that last hit turned my fate around and took energy life out of him. Now this guy only does have 2 energy bars, so again on this promenade easy mode, it feels like this is a fairly easy boss battle, potentially.
Go back.
Like he says go back, and I don't know what that means. Is that a hint to avoid an attack? A lot of this is
I
straight
brought
up
you to your knees once already,
just keep
and I will
him
do so again.
stay back until you have that room, and then once you have an opportunity to attack. And see, I want to just button mash and attack as much as possible, and that just doesn't
You
really
think
work
you
for
can
me.
escape?
I don't think some of the characters actually try to carry you back. I don't know where they really would even carry you. It implies to me that maybe they could
I brought you to your knees once
teleport
already.
you back
I
to
will
the
do so
jail,
again.
but you've already killed several of the jailers, so if you escaped again, they need to hire new jailers, I guess. And see, that's weird, in that I was able to hit him in the middle of his attack.
Go back.
And the problem here is that half of your sequence here is that this section here so everything you do to get to this point is kind of pointless.
We build all of this. We prepared, invested so much.
And I imagine there
will
really
never
would
give up,
just be
stranger. The stakes are too high.
like, so now the edges are just dangerous, it looks like. And so the idea here is that you're gonna accidentally dash into the walls.
You can't win, stranger. You can't win. You're alone. And you think you can escape?
And see, that's supposed to be like a
I
really
will
cool
never give up, stranger. The stakes are too high.
flip you're doing, but I don't know if it really is. If it really is that cool, or if it's just a case that it's not animated particularly well. Yeah.
Surrender.
Yeah, I'm just getting my butt handed to
For
me.
my son, for all of us, I am bringing you back.
And so the whole sequence has to start over again. And it's no wonder that you would have a practice mode like on this. It's just... Whoops.
You can't win,
It's just
stranger.
too easy to
You have nothing to protect.
have to
Nothing to fight for.
really get good at each sequence and then move over to the next sequence after that and get really good at that next sequence. And see, in something like Bayonetta, each one of these would be chapters, and you would have that extra
Surrender.
element where you could go back to a chapter and try again after the first time. If anything,
You can't win.
even in that,
You're alone.
it really
And you think
guy's
you can escape.
just gonna start the whole thing over again.
I will never give up, stranger. The
And
stakes
see,
are
that
too
was a whole
high.
new attack once we got him into that second section. I just don't think I'm getting the perfect timing right at all here, and I'm just doing increasing
You can't win, stranger.
amounts of
You have
small damage while our competitor here, it's kind of hard to call him a bad guy, is doing heavy damage.
How many times is he going to bring you back? Come on, you can do it. And no, you are not alone.
It almost feels like you should, at this point, actually, when you continue, just be dragged all the way back to the first
I brought you
level,
to your knees once already, and I will do so again.
and then you have to walk the entire distance of the whole level, so that it's just an increased punishment. Whoops. I'm not even sure what I was supposed to do to avoid that one.
Go back.
So if I see yellow, I know to hit X. If he's gonna shield bash me, I don't know what I'm supposed to do though. Am I supposed to hit B there? So like, all this really is right now is just working towards this point.
I brought you to your knees once already, and I will do so again.
So you need your health up to a very high amount
Go back.
to get just enough of a chance of survival here. until basically this sequence
We build all of this.
to win that
We
one
prepared,
round.
Invested so much.
And so
I will never give up.
now it is a
The
case of
stakes are too high.
so now it's counter as much as possible, avoid as much damage as possible, maybe just get to the next sequence.
For my son, for all of us, I am bringing you back. I will never give up, stranger.
It is kind
The
of
stakes
crazy
are too
to
high.
bring your son into a prison.
You can't win, stranger. You have nothing.
So
You can't win.
yeah,
You're alone.
I should have been using the gun a lot more. Am I supposed to just be getting further away from this guy?
I won't let you.
Or like, yeah. I don't know if I was supposed to get away from that guy to stop his barrage of attacks, or if I was supposed to do something else. So noticeably, this guy looks very human compared to the other art styles, where your character doesn't feel that human anymore, even though they were trying to make him seem very human at the beginning of the game. And then up until this point, everybody else has had masks
Man,
on.
that was intense. But you've got to move on now. Don't overthink it. That's what they want you to do.
Yeah, trying to emotionally manipulate you and weaken your resolve. There's a whole house here. Now there is a very good argument to be made to leave no survivors. Like, every time you leave a survivor, they're gonna come back and seek revenge at some other point. Of course, I can't even really walk here. So if we came across the boy, it would potentially be smarter to kill him. Also, might just be kinder to kill him in general.
If he really loved him, why did he come here? Why did he ever become a guardian?
Yeah, this boy is assumedly just going to be trapped on his own. We're not thinking too deep as far as just where they get their food. Do they need food? Do they just live forever? It definitely feels like there should be an extra thing here where you would walk around in some location and you would see the boy and at least see him run away from you as you potentially hesitated. But they don't even want your character
Things we do for love.
to emote or seem like they hesitate in any way. So yeah. Yeah, it's not worth it to walk back. Again, because in this easy mode, in this promenade mode, I only had 2 phases to go through. I really feel like if I came back and played Furi mode, though, there would just be extra phases that I would have to learn. And same is probably true for the most difficult mode that unlocks when you beat it on normal mode, is that you're just getting another third of the game. So for people that are struggling, which I'm struggling a little bit here, and having to use invincible mode and play on promenade mode, they very possibly are going to miss out on 2/3 of the game. And normally I would consider a game mostly seen when the player gets to the credits, and normally I would point out that it's somewhere, the numbers are low. Sometimes I've seen games that are in the single digits as far as the average player getting that achievement on Steam. I've seen it be as high as, I think, about 30%, but you lose a lot of people that just don't make it to the credits. In this case, if you're playing on easy mode and you make it to the credits, you're still not seeing the full experience. I'd have to consider people who beat it on the highest level of difficulty to be the true players, the actual hardcore players that would have made it all the way to the end, where I'm not going to probably include myself in that group. And yeah, at some level I could start the story for the next boss fight, but it's not really worth it. We'll just have fairly inconsistent lengths of episodes. So that's going to be it for this episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me further, there's a link down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.